Hello friends, welcome to yet another episode of Finance MCQ, and in today's session we will study penal provisions related to misstatement in prospectus and fraud, which is a part of Companies Act 2013 of your technical syllabus. Friends, this technical syllabus includes subjects such as costing, then commerce and accountancy, management, finance, Companies Act and economics. And friends, this technical syllabus is very important for your selection as it covers 100 marks in phase 1 and is also having 2/3 weightage in phase 2 of your SEBI grade A officer exam. So let's begin. So friends, misstatement in prospectus. So friends, misstatement is the act of stating something that is false or not accurate. So friends, misstatement of prospectus is a serious offense which attracts section 34 and or section 35 of Companies Act 2013. So friends, section 34 speaks about criminal liability for misstatement in prospectus, while section 35 speaks about civil liability for misstatement in prospectus. So friends, I hope you all know the difference between civil liability and criminal liability. So friends, criminal liability involves breaking of law and is considered a serious offense, and punishment might involve fines, imprisonment or even both. While friends, in case of civil liability, claims is done towards compensation for loss or damage suffered by one person due to the act of other. Now friends, let's move on and study these sections, section 34 and section 35 in detail. So friends, section 34 was speaking about criminal liability for misstatement in prospect. So friends, where a prospectus issued, circulated or distributed under this chapter includes any statement which is untrue or misleading in the form or context in which it is included, or where an inclusion or omission is likely to mislead. So friends, here apart from the statement to be untrue or misleading, even when the statement is likely to mislead, then also the culprit would be liable under section 34. And friends, here every person who authorizes the issue of such prospectus shall be liable under section 447. And friends, the penal provisions of section 447 we will study in the next slide. And friends, there are two exceptions here. First one is that if the person who is considered as a defaulter under section 34 proves that the such statement or omission was immaterial, or he had a reasonable grounds to believe and did up to the time of issue of prospectus believe that the statement was true or the inclusion or omission was necessary. So friends, in these two exceptions the liability might be avoided. And friends, let's discuss section 447. So friends, according to section 447, any person who is found to be guilty of a fraud involving the amount of at least 10 lakh rupees or 1% of the turnover of the company, whichever is lower, shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 6 months, which may be extended to 10 years. And friends, apart from this imprisonment, he will be liable to a fine which shall not be less than the actual amount involved in the fraud, that may be extended to 3 times the amount involved in the fraud. And friends, where the fraud involves public interest, the minimum imprisonment shall be 3 years. So friends, in case where the fraud amount is lesser than 10 lakh rupees or 1% of the turnover of the company, which is lower and does not involve public interest, so the person guilty of such fraud shall be punishable with an imprisonment for a term which is up to 5 years, or with a fine which is maximum of 50 lakh rupees, or with both. So friends, if we summarize this provision, we can divide the penalty into 3 parts. So first was when the amount was less than 10 lakh rupees or 1% of the turnover, whichever is less. So here there will be a maximum fine of 50 lakh rupees and a maximum imprisonment of 5 years. But where the amount is more than 10 lakh rupees or 1% of the turnover, here the minimum fine would be the amount of fraud and the maximum will be 3 times of the amount of fraud. And the imprisonment will be minimum 6 months and maximum it would be 10 years. And friends, when the frauds involves public interest, the fines will be same. However, the minimum imprisonment will be 3 years, while maximum imprisonment will be the same as in the case of fraud where the amount is involving is more than 10 lakh rupees. Now friends, let's move on and read section 35, which speaks about civil liability for misstatement in prospectus. So friends, where a person has subscribed for securities of a company acting on any statement included, or the inclusion or omission of any matter in the prospectus which is misleading and has sustained any loss or damage as a consequence thereof, the company and every person. So friends, here it is very important for forming a claim under section 35 that the person should have actually suffered any loss or damage due to the misleading statement made in the prospectus. And here who will be the responsible? First of all, the director of the company at the time of the issue of prospectus. Next, the person who has authorized himself to be named as director. In the third case, the promoter, and even friends, the person who has authorized the issue of prospectus, and even the expert as referred under subsection 5 of 26 will also be responsible for the misstatement made in prospectus, and there will be a civil liability under section 35. Moving on, let's discuss the liability for defrauding here. So friends, where it is proved that the prospectus has been issued with an intent to defraud the applicants for the securities of the company or any other persons for any fraudulent purpose, every person referred to in subsection 1. So who were referred? Friends, the director, the authorized director, the promoter, or the person who has authorized the issue of prospectus, or an expert. So these people will be personally responsible without any limitation of liability for any of the losses or damages that may have incurred by any person who has subscribed to the securities on the basis of such securities. So friends, here even their personal properties might be attached by the court to pay off the loss or damage of the sufferers. So friends, here there are again two exceptions. So friends, no person shall be liable in this section if he proves that having consented to become a director of the company, he withdrew his consent before the issue of the prospectus and it was issued without his authority or consent. Further friends, if he proves that the prospectus was issued without his knowledge or consent and that on becoming aware of its issue, he forthwith and give reasonable public notice and make people aware that it was issued without his knowledge or consent. So friends, let's move on and study one more section, that is section 36, which speaks about punishment for fraudulently inducing persons to invest money. So friends, as per section 36, any person who either knowingly or recklessly make any statement, promise or forecast which is false, deceptive or misleading, or deliberately conceals any material facts to induce any other person to enter into or to offer to enter into. So friends, apart from making a false, deceptive or misleading statement, promise or forecast, even if the person deliberately conceals any material facts, he will be liable for punishment under section 36. And if he induces him to enter into any agreement for or with a view to acquiring, disposing of, subscribing for or underwriting shares, he will be punishable under section 36. And friends, apart from this, if the person induces any other person to enter into an agreement, the purpose or the pretended purpose of which is to secure a profit to any parties from the yield of securities with reference to the fluctuations in the value of securities. So friends, if a person induces another person to invest in a particular security and promising for some whimsical profit, then he can be liable under section 36. And friends, apart from securities, if a person induces other person to enter into an agreement for or with a view of obtaining credit facilities from any bank or financial institutions, he will be liable for punishment under section 36. And friends, the culprit here will be liable for action under section 447. So section 447 we have already studied. Let's revise it again. So friends, section 447 can be divided into three parts. First one was when the amount was less than 10 lakh rupees or 1% of the turnover, whichever is less. So friends, here the maximum fine was 50 lakhs and maximum imprisonment was 5 years. And friends, second case was when the amount was more than 10 lakh rupees or 1% of the turnover, whichever is less. So here the minimum fine was equal to the amount of fraud. The maximum was 3 times of the amount of fraud. And friends, here the minimum imprisonment is 6 months and the maximum was 10 years. And friends, where the fraud involves any public interest, so remember that the minimum imprisonment will be 3 years and not 6 months. Moving on, so what are the actions that can be taken by affected persons as given under section 37 of Companies Act 2013? So friends, a suit may be filed or any other action may be taken under section 34, which speaks about criminal liability, or section 35 which speaks about civil liability, or section 37 which speaks for fraudulently inducing persons to invest money by any person group of persons or any association of persons affected by any misleading statement or the inclusion or omission of any matter in the prospectus. So friends, there is a concept of class actions in Companies Act 2013. So friends, class action suit is for a group of people filing a suit against a defendant who has caused a common harm to the entire group or class. So friends, normally what happens in a common litigation method is that there is one defendant files a case against another defendant and both the parties are available in the court. But in case of class action suit, the class or group of people filing the cases need not be present in the court, but their case can be represented by one petitioner. So friends, the benefit of this type of suits is that if several people have been injured by one defendant, each one of the injured person need not file separately, but all the people can file a single case together against the defendant. So friends, with this we finish the topic related to prospectus and the penal provisions related to the misstatement in prospectus and fraud. Friends, for more practice of MCQs on this topic, please visit financemcq.in, where the entire SEBI grade exam technical syllabus is covered in MCQ format. Friends, here 2000 plus subject wise, topic wise MCQ questions are presented for you to practice. Friends, explanation are also added for correct answers wherever required. So friends, apart from this, there are 25 test series covering the technical syllabus for more and more practice. So friends, do visit financemcq.in and practice your technical syllabus well. And friends, don't forget that this technical syllabus is having 100 marks in phase 1 and is also having 2/3 weightage in phase 2 of your SEBI grade exam. So friends, this technical syllabus is very important for your selection. So friends, that's all for today. We will go through some more insight into the topic tomorrow. Till then, thank you very much for watching. Take care and goodbye. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe.